Hello, everyone. Mackie here, and welcome back to another edition of 60 Super Bowls in 60 Days. Today, it is January 27th, 1999, or yesteryear, it was January 27th, 1991. Again, time is a weird concept, of course. We are in Tampa Stadium in Tampa Bay, Florida, or Tampa, Florida, for Super Bowl 25 between the Bills and the New York Giants. Yes, I know you saw the scoreboard, and everybody knows what happened. But I want to give you little three things that happened during the Super Bowl that is pretty much many people know about it even today. One, we get the absolute greatest national anthem to ever grace our sport, sang by the late great Whitney Houston. I mean, consider the context we're at the time. There was, how would I say, it is a Middle Eastern war going on right now, and this was the '90s, of course. So time in America is not as, how do I say this? It is not as chaotic as it is today's, of course. And if you feel like America's going downhill and all kinds of stuff, I want you to do yourself a favor. Type in Super Bowl 25 Whitney Houston anthem, and it will mind shatter you. It will mind shatter you to oblivion. It will make you cry. It will make you feel American, even though I'm not, to be honest. And the funniest thing about this thing, and the incredible thing, and the funniest thing is that national anthem was even charted on Billboard. Like, think about it. No national anthem in any country, especially like in America, can ever be sung brilliantly, sung importantly, but most importantly, being sung that Billboard even charted that whole thing. So the whole that I think this is probably the only Super Bowl review that I'm doing that the national anthem getting more praise in the Super Bowl than anything else. That is the incredible part. The second thing about it is that we got the weirdest halftime show of all time with, you know, Disney joined up. It's the '90s, of course. Disney was all the buzz. There was Disney and the tribute to all the soldiers that are coming in the war, of course, and that is weird enough. So we got an incredible national anthem and a weird halftime show. And in between those, we got a fantastic football game. Probably the most classical Super Bowl ever and the most painful, painful loss of any team ever suffered in the history of football. Now it is time for me to look at the stats and tell you all you need to know about this Super Bowl. Jim Kelly, Hall of Famer, of course, for Buffalo so many years. He went 18 of 30 for 212 yards. Jeff Hallstalter went 20 of 32 for 222 yards and a touchdown. Now, okay, you're thinking to yourself, not much quarterbacking, of course, in this game. In fact, the Bills are going into this game pretty much the most dominant offensive team ever. And we'll get to the yards after this, but this was a Bill Belichick masterclass. Well, actually, Bill Belichick was not the coach at that time. Bill Parcells is. Bill Belichick was the defensive coordinator for that Giants team. And he just literally put into work. Like, the whole Buffalo to 19 points, when I believe their average points was like 20, 30s. And the way Jim Kelly and the way Thurman Thomas and Andre Reed cooked in that season, it's a masterclass, and an absolute defensive masterclass. But if we go even further to the Russian thing, you saw that Thurman Thomas carried 15 times, 135 yards at 9 a pop with a touchdown. Jim Kelly also run for 6 times for 23 yards at 3.83 a pop. Your Super Bowl MVP was Otis Anderson, 21 carries, 102 yards at 4.86 a pop with a touchdown. That is workman stuff. And they did the classical team of a team being an underdog against the highly octane favorite. Is you rush the ball, trim down the time of possession to the other team, make sure the other team does not get much of the ball, and work from there. It was a masterclass performance by the running game, but also the Giants defense. David Meggett also contributed with 9 rushes of 48 yards at 5.33 a pop. Now for the receivers. Andre Reed, pretty much a good Hall of Famer. 8 catches for 62 yards, 7.75 a pop. Thurman Thomas, also Hall of Famer. 5 catches for 55 yards and 11 a pop. Kenneth Davis, 2 catches for 23 yards and 11.5. Mark Bavaro for the New York Giants. 5 catches for 50 yards and 10 a pop. Mark Ingram, probably Mark Ingram's kind of related, of course. I think he's the former New Orleans Saints running back, of course. Mark Ingram. I think that's related. You can go down to the comments. Let's see if your knowledge of family football, of course. Mark Ingram, 5 catches for 74 yards at 14.8 a pop. Howard Cross, 4 catches for 39 yards at 9.75 a pop. Stephen Baker, 2 catches for 31 yards, 15.5 a pop. The real story was the defense, and no, not from the Buffalo side. Jeff Wright, sack, 4 tackles. Bruce Smith, sack. Shane Conlan, 5 tackles. Leon Seals, 4 tackles. Nate Odoms, 3 tackles. The Giants side of the defense. Leonard Marshall, sack tackle. Eric Howard, 5 tackles. Carl Banks, Mark Collins, Pepper Johnson, 4 tackles. Lawrence Taylor, who's literally one of the best defensive ends in probably all of football by a mile. If you have any time, just go watch his highlights. Go watch his performance. He was incredible. He only had a tackle, but then again, his presence actually helped the other team, like Leonard Marshall, Eric Howard, and all these other players, be better. So while in the box scores, Lawrence Taylor did not do much, you could say that he was contributing to like 65, 70% of the pressure in this game. So he probably have a higher ceiling than that. And then, oh boy, we get to the kicking and special teams. Matt Breyer was perfect, 2 for 2 PATs and field goals. And oh Jesus, Scott Norwood from the Buffalo Bills, 2 for 2 PATs and 1 for 2 on field goals. And I am sad to be saying this as not a Buffalo fan, but probably a football fan. This is the one where the pain continues. This is where all the pain of Buffalo fans across the globe and across Buffalo just eke out of it. So I will give you the drive. And then we'll go from there. So I think this is the last drive. 5 minutes. Okay. All right. So they're at the Buffalo 10. It's 19-20, of course, with about 2:16 remaining. Jim Kelly just run for 8 yards. Then Jim Kelly for 1 yard. Then Thurman Thomas run for 22 yards. And Jim Kelly passes to Andrew Beach for 4 yards. Then Jim Kelly rushing for 9 yards. Then completed the pass to Keith McKellar for 6 yards. Then we got Thurman Thomas for 11 yards. And then Jim Kelly's pass was incomplete. Now, let's be brutally honest. That was a first down. And there was like 29 seconds, of course. I think the clock was running at the time. And I don't know timeouts or anything. But if they would have picked up a little couple more yards, it would make Scott Norwood's kick a little bit easier. But consider the pressure, the moment, the fact that it's like, all of America and all across the world watching it. The kicking field goals it's hard. Yeah, it's simple, but consider the moment and the circumstances. It's pretty hard. Like, a couple of years from now, we see another kick that determine not a Super Bowl appearance, but determine pretty much a Super Bowl matchup, to be honest. And kicking in football, especially in Super Bowls, are never easy. Never easy. So with 9 seconds on the clock, and they're at the Giants 29, you're thinking to yourself, okay, he got this. Like back then, if you're a Bills fan, you're probably saying, Scott Norwood got this. He's got this. He's got it in the bag. And then he missed a 47-yard field goal. 47 yards, wide right. He missed. And then Giants got the ball. Jeff Hallstatter take a knee, and the Giants are Super Bowl champions. And I will tell you one thing. Even if you don't watch any Super Bowls or any other football, that is the most gut-wrenching way to lose. That is the most gut-wrenching way to lose. I mean, a 47-yarder is a chip shot in today's NFL, to be honest. We see, like, kickers now kicking 50, 55, and close to, like, 60 yards, of course. So 47 yards is like a chip shot. But back then, it was like a really difficult kick considering the circumstances and all kind of stuff. And we don't know the wind or we don't know the pressure, but these things happen. These things happen. And yeah, the Giants put up a pretty good defensive performance, stopping the Buffalo Bills cold in their offense, of course. And by the way, the total yards are Buffalo's 205 to Giants 214. Here is the other interesting stat. No turnovers. In fact, both teams delivered no turnovers for this game. It was a clean game. Well, let's just say there was a few penalties, of course, so it's not as clean. But in terms of like taking care of the football and done stuff, the Bills did their part, but the Giants mostly did their part and not giving away the ball to their offense and let them score points. That is the name of the game. And they did that to perfection. I'm not saying it's a near perfect game, but it was a near perfect game from an execution standpoint, from a defensive standpoint, from everything. And it got them to the Super Bowl. And don't worry, Bills. You'll be back here for another Super Bowl. Don't worry. The Bills will be back for another Super Bowl. Until then, thank you all for watching. Like, comment, subscribe to all the kind of stuff. And we'll see you all tomorrow for Super Bowl 26.